Hello, and thanks for checking out this user group video. We are joined by Mark Arseneault. He is the Region 5 STEM Center Director for La STEM in Louisiana, also a Calcasieu Parish School Board member. And Mark, thanks for taking a couple minutes to talk to us about building the workforce of the future.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Learning Blade's new in the state, and you've done an incredible job making sure all of the your parishes have had contact with it and started using it. Why do you feel, or how do you feel, Learning Blade and addresses this need for career awareness and building the workforce? How do those things connect, this STEM
Sure.
and the workforce, in your mind?
Yes. And just to make a point, Josh, the reason why we're probably a little more successful than the other regions, the state of Louisiana has 9 regional STEM centers under the guidance of Senator Hewitt. And we're the only one, Region 5, we're the only one that's housed within a K-12 school system. Most of the others are tied to universities. So we have direct access to K-12 students. So that might be, I can't take the credit for the success. It's just the fact that we have access, and maybe I'm a little more tenacious at reaching out to these districts. I'm not sure. So yes, we do. It seems like we're reaching a lot of we're beginning to reach a lot of the K-12. Well, Learning Blade's more middle school to high school, right? Maybe upper elementary.
Yeah,
maybe
grades 5 through 9.
Right. So we know that we're raising a generation of young people that might have a job in the future that may not even exist yet. These jobs, these techie jobs, these STEM jobs, they do require a certain skill set. There's soft skills, there's transferable skills, computer programming, the math that goes behind that, they're really crucial. And one of the things I tell people all the time is you can't be what you don't see. And these students need to see themselves in that role. We try to expose students to careers and career pathways that they can relate to. That's one of the things I love about Learning Blade. Just looking through it does expose students to a lot of different career pathways in terms of STEM. If people think of STEM, they might think of robotics and computer coding, and that's kind of part of it. It's kind of like saying astronomy is all about telescopes, or computer science is all about computers. STEM is more than just robotics and coding. It's a mindset. It's a paradigm shift. It's the engineering design process. And I like how Learning Blade has this platform for students to go through that kind of thinking.
Awesome. Yeah, and I agree with you in terms of, I like what you just said, astronomy is more than a telescope. I think in Learning Blade, we're trying to show students that STEM doesn't mean PhD scientists, right?
Right.
The community college pathways are a rich environment for STEM opportunities as well. Can you discuss that in your mind, like in terms of STEM careers and the opportunities coming out of technical trade schools, dual enrollment, 21st and community colleges? What are you seeing in that space?
Yeah. So we do work with the university here in Lake Charles, McNeese State University. We also work with Sewella Community College, and we're seeing, for example, they have a I don't want to call it pipe fitters, but it has to involves the pipe fitting industry, but the technology that these young people, right, are learning to use compared to maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. I mean, the technical advances in any field, but we're just talking about one in particular, right? So these young people are learning to use technology in a way that wouldn't even be considered years ago. For example, talking about pipes, looking for cracks in pipes. They used to have to visually inspect them, maybe do x-rays. Now we can use magnets, strong magnets, and these devices that use magnets and magnetic fields to detect weaknesses in the pipes much better than just a visual inspection or even an x-ray. And I won't get into that technology, but it's just one little small example of how technology is advancing in all the different trade fields.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, in Learning Blade, we try and introduce students to over 100 STEM careers and technology. So they're starting to see those connections happening.
Mhm.
We had an incredible event. The La STEM statewide summit was last week. And we did a panel, and I'm going to put the recording of the panel in the chat, in the notes for this recording, Mark.
Yep.
But, what did you hear from your teachers? What did you hear from the teachers that were speaking? What resonated with you from what you heard from the classroom practitioners about building the workforce?
Right. So I was real excited to see their excitement, and they're relaying their students' excitement to, obviously the students are using the Learning Blade program, and the students are seeing how they could fill these roles in the future, right? These STEM fields, the kids going through these missions and completing missions and just not wanting to leave, right? Not wanting to stay in the classroom and finish, and can't wait to get back the next day and get back into the mission. But, they're learning unawares, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're seeing these different fields. And again, you can't be what you don't see. We're exposing, Learning Blade does a great job exposing students to these different STEM fields. And it's just nice to see the excitement in the teachers, the administrators, and the students.
Last question for you. Local business and industry. How does your parish deal with local business and industry and making sure students are aware of those opportunities? And, maybe a word of or nugget of advice for others that are in sort of your position coordinating STEM for a region, and how can they help make those connections? What do you see?
So there's a couple of things that come to mind right away. Like we here at the STEM Center, we have a great partnership with the industry and the business around us, and we ask for volunteers all the time. Maybe they might come in and help with an event we're doing. Maybe we're doing a robotics competition. So and these maybe they're acting as referees, judges, or working concessions or whatever, and they have opportunities to talk to young people. So to me, that's a great way to mesh the industry with the community in terms of exposing students to those fields. But we also have field trips where we bring students to these industries. I know COVID and the hurricanes really put a damper on that for a little while, but we're beginning to get that ball rolling. And industry is really wanting the young people to come out. They really are excited to show them what they could be. And there's several testimonies of people in industry that are in that position because of when they were a child, they were exposed during a field trip, or someone in that position talked to them. And these young people didn't even know they could do something like that.
Yeah, that's cool. So there was actually a newspaper article in Kentucky that Learning Blade's like a virtual field trip for schools, and so that they used Learning Blade to kind of, all right, you're going to go see Boeing, or you're going to go learn about this industry, this car manufacturer, this group. You can sort of learn about those careers prior to going, so kids have prior knowledge about what's going on when they see it. So that's fun. Well, hey, listen, Mark, thank you for joining this short little discussion on building the workforce using STEM and computer science. Let me ask you one last question as I wrap up. Computer science specifically, like how big is it? How big a demand is it? And should every single school be addressing it somehow?
Yes, it is huge. So one of the things we're doing here is we've really spent some time focusing on, okay, how can we improve computer science? Because we see, so just for example, by cyber attacks, right? Someone told me there's probably only about 50 people in the world that could fend off a serious cyber attack. So just that alone, how do we develop a workforce that's prepared with this level of thinking? And a lot of it does go back to the math. So we here at the STEM Center, we're doing our part. We're starting robotics at a very young age. And when I say robotics, I know what I mean. I know it involves coding and computer programming, computer science. Robotics is just a way to deliver it, right?
Yep.
So one of the last surveys they did with graduating seniors, I think 2019 is the last time we have data because of COVID and hurricanes and all that. More than 50% of the students in this area or in Louisiana wanted to go into a STEM field, but only 10% were prepared mathematically.
Yep.
And we know the coding depends heavily on the math. So we see the need, we see the deficits, but more importantly, we're doing something about it.
Awesome. Yeah, when that, so I'll end on that. We're excited that we in Learning Blade have a brand new 20-hour learn to code sort of resource for middle school. So hopefully we can work with your teachers and make that happen. We're with Mark Arseneault, the Region 5 La STEM director. So thank you for your time, Mark, and for all you've done. Really, you've been an amazing partner getting Learning Blade on the ground and into schools in your region. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Josh.
You bet.
Bye.